Well, startups are known for the ability of the entrepreneur to take risks. An entrepreneur has to also mobilize a lot of resources and charter into unknown territory. And I think starting a think tank, you have to actually mobilize a lot of resources because usually you are short on funds. And you do have a vision, but you're unsure about the outcome. And just like a startup is always at risks and fights for survival, I think tanks do that. And particularly in the context in societies in which the charitable culture for think tanks does not exist, as is in the case in Asian societies, for instance, then it is very important that any think tank founder must have entrepreneurial characteristic built into her or his personality. That is the key for survival, and that is the key for success of a think tank, in my view. In some ways, think tanks are similar to running a business. In some ways, they are not. The key similarity is that just like business, you have to run it on a professional basis. You have to have clear separation of functions, even if it is a small team. But in some ways, it is different. Businesses are looking at the profits. Think tanks are looking at policy success or cultural change or public education as an outcome. So I see that there are some similarities between think tanks and businesses, but there are also important differences. When we talk about identification of research agenda of think tanks, we have to be very well aware of the political environment in which a think tank exists, also about the media environment, because ultimately any research agenda must have strong local ownership to be successful, which means the think tank leadership must be talking to the academics, talking to the political parties, talking to the policy makers, and from this environment must draw a research agenda and then talk about its publications in the future. For measuring the success of think tanks is not an easy thing. We are not talking about sometimes tangible outcomes such as profits or revenues. But I see success of think tanks basically in terms of our outreach capacity, how to which extent we are able to educate the stakeholders. Also a change in legislation, which is, I think, an ultimate outcome, success of a think tank. But also bringing communities and developing communities, policy communities together is also an important indicator of success for any think tank. So in my work at Islam and Liberty Network, we are actually doing that in practice, which is run by a very small team, 1.5 persons, but a network of scholars and researchers which are working in different countries, but with the same mission and same vision. And it is especially important when we are talking about in a resource constrained environment, but still want to achieve maximum outcome. Then building up this network of individuals becomes crucial. For think tanks which are particularly working on economic policy issues, it is very important for them to build strong relationship with the private sector, with business associations and chambers in their cities and countries. These chambers do have a lot of power when it comes to influencing the government policy choices, but may not have strong in research and think tanks can actually provide that research for chambers and business association and help build creative partnerships, something which in Pakistan Prime has been doing along with CIPE support, and it is being proven as successful.